Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something fascinating using those articles you sent over. Our focus, Grüner Veltliner, Austria's big one, their signature white grape.
Exactly. And we've got quite the collection here looking at its history, the importance of terroir, how it's grown and made.
Right, and the taste, food pairings.
The taste, definitely how it pairs with food and sort of where it sits in the wider wine world now. We've even got some sommelier insights sprinkled in.
Okay, so our mission today is to really unpack Grüner Veltliner, go a bit deeper than just the basics.
Yeah, distill it all down into something engaging. It's surprisingly versatile. There's a lot more to it than people might think.
All right, let's dive in then. Where do we start? Its position in Austria.
Good place to start. I mean, it's dominant. It's not just a grape in Austria, it's the white grape. We're talking roughly 1/3 of all their vineyards.
Wow, a third. That's huge.
It really is. It just underlines how vital it is, not just for the industry, but for, well, Austrian wine identity itself.
So it's really woven into the culture, beyond just being a popular drink.
Absolutely. It represents Austrian winemaking, tradition, quality, and generally what you're looking for is that freshness, that minerality.
And its ability to show where it's from.
Exactly. It's great at reflecting terroir. Plus, it's so versatile. Different styles, amazing with food, as we'll get into.
And Austria is ground zero, obviously, but we're seeing it elsewhere now.
We are. Austria is definitely the main source, by far. But yeah, its reputation means growers in other places are giving it a go, usually in smaller quantities.
Okay, so let's rewind a bit. Where did this grape actually come from? Its origins?
Well, it's properly Austrian, and the DNA work that's been done is pretty fascinating, actually. It turns out it's a cross between Traminer, which people might know, and this much rarer Austrian grape called St. Georgener Rebe.
St. Georgener Rebe. Never heard of it.
Most people haven't. It just shows these surprising genetic links, And it definitely puts paid to some older ideas based on the name.
Yeah, I think I read that. The name Veltliner made some people think Italy, maybe Veltliner.
That was the theory for a while, yeah. Green Veltliner. But the genetics are clear. It's Austrian, through and through.
So how did it get so big in Austria? Was it always number one?
Not always number one, but its rise, especially in the 20th century, was quite significant. It just adapted so well to different Austrian conditions, different soils, and crucially, it gives reliable yields, which growers obviously like.
Makes sense. Is there one region that's really its heartland?
Definitely. Weinviertel. It's north of Vienna, and it's become the key area. The climate there, continental warm summers, cold winters, and these loafless soils.
Locust, what's that exactly?
Like a fine, silty soil, wind-blown sediment. Really good for giving that fresh, fruity character, maybe a bit of minerality, holds water well. It just suits Grüner Veltliner perfectly.
And outside Austria, you mentioned it spread a bit.
Yeah, initially to neighbors, places like the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary. Similar climates you see. More recently, you find it in the New World, US, Canada, Australia, people experimenting where the conditions might work.
So it really feels like it defines Austrian wine in many ways.
Oh, absolutely. That refreshing acidity, the minerality, those unique aromas, white pepper, sometimes that little hint of lentil. It's become a symbol of Austrian quality and distinctiveness globally.
Okay, let's talk more about terroir. How does the Austrian landscape itself shape the wine?
The climate is fundamental, continental,
Really?
right? So warm summers for ripeness, getting those flavors fully developed, cold winters for dormancy, and really importantly, the temperature swings between day and night. That helps the grapes hang on to their acidity, which is key for freshness and balance.
You mentioned large soil. What about other types? How do they change the wine?
Big impact. So lotties, like in Weinviertel and Wagram, often gives more fruit, green apple, pear, and that classic white pepper. Good water retention, too.
And the rockier areas, like Wachau.
Right. In places like Wachau, Kremstal, Kamptal, you get primary rock granite, gneiss. That tends to give more minerality, more structure, complexity. Wines that can age. The vines have to work harder, roots go deeper. Then there's schist in parts of Wachau, too, which gives its own kind of minerality, sometimes a bit earthy, holds heat well, affects ripening.
So the ground beneath the vine makes a huge difference. What about the shape of the land? Slopes, rivers?
Also very important, steep slopes, like you see a lot in the Wachau, mean great sun exposure, better ripening, more concentration, good drainage too. And rivers, especially the Danube, they moderate temperature, reflect light, help with air circulation, which can reduce disease risk. It all adds up.
You've mentioned specific regions. Can we zoom in? Wachau, for instance. It has a big reputation.
Huge reputation, known for top-quality dry whites. They even have their own classification, Steinfeder for the lightest, then Federspiel, then Smaragd for the richest, most age-worthy ones.
Ah, the classification, yes.
Exactly. It tells you about the style and intensity. The Grüners from Wachau, often from those steep, rocky sites, are typically mineral-driven, structured, built to last, lots of complexity fruit, citrus, herbs, spice, that mineral core.
Okay, in Kremstal, what's the style there?
Kremstal often finds a beautiful balance, I think. You get a mix of soils, rock, and loess, so often ripe fruit, peach, apple, but with a subtle minerality and a graceful structure. Good acidity, can age nicely too.
Kamptal.
Similar potential for quality, yes. Known for elegant, mineral, age-worthy Grüners. Again, varied soils, sunny slopes. Think stone fruits, citrus, herbs, minerality. Really refined wines often come from Kamptal.
And back to the biggest region, Weinviertel.
Weinviertel is really about that fresh, fruity style, often lighter. That's where the loess dominates and where you reliably find that Pfefferl, the white pepper. Generally, these are wines to enjoy young and fresh.
Right. And Wagram.
Wagram has deeper lopus, often on these terraces. It tends to give more body, more structure. The spice notes can be more intense, pepper, herbs, sometimes a little earthy hint. They can age a bit too, gain some complexity.
It's amazing how specific it gets. So, thinking beyond Austria now, Germany, Czech Republic, Slovakia, New World, what do they taste like?
Well, in Germany, it's generally cooler, so you often get Grüners with really vibrant acidity, maybe more delicate fruit, citrus, white fruits, subtle herbs, elegant minerality.
Veltliner, maybe?
Sometimes, yeah. A bit more restrained, perhaps. Then Czech Republic and Slovakia, they've got history with the grape, similar climates to parts of Austria. You can find quite structured, complex wines there, good balance of acid, fruit, and sometimes that earthy minerality again.
And the New World experiments.
It's really about finding the right spots, places with those continental conditions or big day-night temperature shifts to keep the acidity. They're aiming for those typical aromas, but of course, the local terroir makes its mark. It shows the grape's adaptability, really.
Okay, let's get a bit technical. The vine itself, what does it look like? And what do growers need to think about?
Sure. Ampelography, the study of vines, tells us Grüner has medium to large leaves, sort of pentagonal, smooth on top, bit fuzzy underneath. The bunches are key. They're often large and quite compact, conical or pyramid-shaped. That density means they can be prone to fungal disease if you're not careful.
Right, the berries.
Medium-sized, round, green to yellowish-green when ripe. Pretty standard, really.
And its growing cycle, early, late.
It buds mid-spring, which is good, less risk from late frosts, but it ripens medium to late. That longer hang time is important, lets the flavors and aromas fully develop while keeping that acidity balanced.
So managing it in the vineyard sounds crucial. What are the key things growers focus on?
Definitely crucial. Managing its vigor is a big one. It can grow quite enthusiastically. So pruning and training systems like guyot or cordon spur are vital to balance the growth, manage the yield, and get good sun and air exposure on the grapes.
Controlling the yield seems important for quality too.
Absolutely critical. Too much fruit dilutes the quality. So growers might thin shoots early on or even remove whole clusters later if needed.
And sustainability, is that a factor?
Increasingly so, yes. Lots of growers moving towards sustainable, organic, even biodynamic practices, partly environmental awareness, partly seeking that authentic terroir expression. And of course, they're always dealing with challenges managing that vigor, adapting to climate change impacts. It's constant work.
Okay, from the vineyard into the winery, how do they actually make Grüner Veltliner? What are the different approaches?
It varies quite a bit depending on the style goal. For fermentation, stainless steel is very common, especially for those fresh aromatic styles. Keeps things clean, preserves primary fruit, but you also see fermentation and aging in oak, often large, older barrels, so it's not too oaky, or even cement tanks. These can add texture, complexity, structure.
In aging?
Again, depends. Stainless steel for young, fresh wines, or cement for the more serious, structured ones. And Surlai aging, leaving the wine on its spent yeast cells, is pretty common too.
What does Surlai do?
It adds weight, texture, makes it feel richer, creamier in the mouth. Often involves battange, stewing the lees, which enhances that effect and can add complexity to the aromas.
So what are the main styles that emerge from all this?
You've got your classic young and fresh style. Stainless steel, bright acidity, green apple, pear, citrus, that white pepper. Drink it young. Then you have The more full-bodied, structured styles, maybe some skin contact, maybe fermented or aged in oak or cement, often aged surly. More density, more complexity can definitely age.
And they can age well.
Oh, yes. Good Gruner has the acidity and structure to develop beautifully. You get nutty notes, honey. The spices become more complex.
And sparkling. You mentioned that briefly.
Yeah. Its high acidity makes it great for traditional method sparkling wine. Really high-quality stuff is being made.
So the winemaker's choices are really shaping the final wine here.
Massively. Every decision vessel, temperature, aging, lees contact, it all directs the final style and quality.
Right. The fun part. Tasting it? What should we expect? Aromas, flavors.
Okay, aromas often starts with fresh fruit, like we said, green apple, pear, maybe white peach. Then comes that signature white pepper, the Pfefferl. You might also get herbal notes. Some say lentil, arugula, cut grass, and very often minerality, flint, whetstone, that sort of thing. Really speaks of the place it grew.
And on the palate.
Typically dry. That vibrant acidity is usually the first thing you notice. Body can range from medium to quite full. The flavors echo the nose, the fruit, the pepper, the minerality. Sometimes a nice little bit of texture, almost oily feel in the richer styles.
That Pfefferl note keeps coming up. It's really the calling card.
It really is. That white pepper thing is quite distinctive for Gruner.
And how does it change as it gets older?
The fruit might shift towards yellow apple, maybe apricot. Those nutty, honeyed notes emerge. Spices become more integrated, complex. The minerality often deepens. It can be really fascinating.
And obviously, terroir and winemaking influence all this massively.
Hugely. Climate, soil, slope, they set the stage for acidity, minerality, aroma potential. Then the winemaker chooses how to express that steel for purity, oak for texture, lees for richness. It all shapes what you taste.
Any tips for tasting at serving temperature?
Glass. Definitely serve it chilled, say 8 to 12 Celsius, maybe 45 to 55 Fahrenheit. Really helps lift the aromas and keep it fresh. A standard white wine glass is fine. For the bigger, more complex Smaragd styles, maybe even give it 30 minutes in a decanter. Lets it open up. And definitely think about food.
Yes. Food pairings. It's famous for being food friendly. What are the classic Austrian matches?
Oh, the classics work so well. Wiener Schnitzel, the acidity just cuts through the richness perfectly. Tafelspitz, that boiled beef, the wine structure complements its delicacy. Even things like cabbage dishes work because the acidity balances them out.
And outside Austria, was it good with globally?
So versatile. Great with freshwater fish trout, sole, seafood generally, lighter poultry like a roast chicken with herbs. Lots of vegetarian dishes, especially asparagus. That's a classic pairing. And surprisingly, it's often brilliant with Asian food. Sushi, sashimi, Thai flavors, even some mildly spicy dishes. The acidity handles it all remarkably well.
What is it fundamentally about the wine that makes it work so well?
It really boils down to that combination of bright acidity and good structure. The acid cleanses the palate, cuts through fat. The structure means it doesn't get lost next to richer food. It just works.
Any final tips for pairing?
Pay attention to serving temp. Use a decent glass. But mostly just experiment. Try a lighter Gruner with fish, maybe a richer one with pork or veal. See what you like. It's pretty forgiving.
Okay, wrapping things up. Its place in the market. How's it doing globally?
It's definitely on the upswing, gaining more and more recognition internationally. People are looking for wines exactly like this. Fresh, mineral, food-friendly. It hits a sweet spot.
Are there particular producers who've really pushed its reputation?
Oh, absolutely. In the Wachau, you've got legends like FX Pichler, Emmerich Knoll, Prager, Hertzberger, each with their own distinct style, but all top quality. Kamptal has Brundelmeyer, Leumer, Nigel again, fantastic producers. Nigel's also big in Kremstal. In Weinviertel, maybe someone like Lorenz V, making really accessible, tasty stuff. Loads of great names, driving quality.
So current tastes seem to favor Gruner.
Yeah, the trend towards vibrant mineral wines with good acidity plays right into its hands. It fits what a lot of people are looking for right now.
Any hurdles it faces?
Well, there's always competition from other big white grapes, Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, and there's still work to do educating people about the range of styles, that it's not just light and simple and its aging potential. That's often underestimated.
I read that wine tourism is pretty important too.
Very important, yes. Getting people to regions like Wachau, Kremstal, Kamptal, visiting the wineries. It creates a connection. You understand the wine better when you see where it comes from. It definitely helps build appreciation.
And the future for Gruner. What's next?
Looks bright, I think. The challenge is balancing tradition with, necessary innovation, adapting to climate change, maybe experimenting a bit in the winery, but without losing what makes it unique, solidifying its place as one of the world's truly great white grapes.
Well, this has been fantastic. It's so clear Grüner Veltliner is way more than just Austria's #1 grape. Look at this deep Austrian heritage, expresses all these different terroirs, comes in so many styles, works brilliantly with food, and people are noticing worldwide.
Exactly. It really captures the essence of Austrian wine, that link between the grape, the specific place, and the people making it.
So a final thought for you listening. Now that we've unpacked Grüner Veltliner a bit, why not go out and find some different examples? Try a fresh one from Weinviertel and next to a richer style from Wachau or Kamptal. See if you can taste the difference. Maybe pair it with something new based on what we talked about. And, maybe even look up the producer. Think about the story behind the bottle. It adds another layer, doesn't it? Cheers to exploring.